I've said this before, but it bears repeating. If you can think of a mystery, a crime, or an unexplained event, chances are there is a cold case file somewhere gathering dust in some government office that may hold the answer. So if you have a story idea for me, leave me a comment and let me know. And here's one such example. This is a real case with real footage that I couldn't fit into my longer form series. So here it is as a standalone episode. It's about a girl who vanished from a locked room. Her name was Mary Cecilia Gutierrez and she was born on October 14, 1969. She grew up in El Paso, Texas. By all accounts, Mary was your typical fun-loving teenager. She enjoyed partying, going to clubs, and hanging out with friends. But she also had a pretty normal family life. She had a solid, stable home environment. Her parents were well-regarded members of the community. By all accounts, Mary had everything a teenager could ask for. But like so many teenagers, she also had her share of problems. She struggled with what we might now call body image issues. And at the age of 17, she became convinced that the only way to fix this was to have plastic surgery. She wanted to change the shape of her nose and also the size of her breasts. Now, whether or not these were her own ideas or whether they'd been drummed into her by her peers is anybody's guess. But the fact was Mary was obsessed. All she talked about was getting the surgery, which would take place when she turned 18. But before the day came, something happened that nobody could have predicted. It was December 3rd, 1986, and Mary was celebrating New Year with her boyfriend and some friends. They were at a house party on the outskirts of town, and according to her boyfriend, around midnight, Mary told him that she was going to the bathroom. He said he waited around for her for a few minutes, but she didn't come out. So he went to look for her. Now, for reasons apparently known only to Mary, she decided to leave the party and drive home alone. Her boyfriend became worried when she didn't answer his calls, so he drove around looking for her. But she was nowhere to be found. Eventually, he returned to the house, only to find her car still parked outside. He called the police and reported her missing. The authorities began to search for her, but there was no sign of a struggle. Her purse, her keys, and her wallet were all left inside the car. There were no signs of foul play and no obvious motive for any foul play. The police were stumped. In the days that followed, hundreds of people turned out to help with the search. They walked the streets, handed out flyers, and knocked on doors. But still there was no sign of Mary. After 3 weeks, the police had to admit that they had exhausted all leads and the case went cold. But here's the thing. When they searched her bedroom, they found something strange. As I said, everything was in its place, which suggested that Mary had left willingly. Her clothes were neatly hung up. Her jewelry was laid out on her dresser. Her bed was made. It looked like the perfect crime. But then an officer noticed something. One of the window blinds was broken. It had been ripped clean off its hinges, but the window itself wasn't open. It looked like somebody had tried to climb through the window but had failed or perhaps changed their mind at the last minute. Now, we should point out that the house was a 2-story building. Mary's bedroom was at the top of the stairs. A window was definitely not an easy entry point, but it got the police thinking. What if Mary hadn't been kidnapped? What if she'd actually been in her bedroom all along? When they re-interviewed her family, they learned that the night before she disappeared, Mary had been watching a TV show about plastic surgery. Could this have been more than just a coincidence? Could it have triggered some kind of psychotic break? Had she shut herself into her room and then died somehow? The police couldn't rule it out. They got a warrant and searched the house again. And this time, they found traces of blood in Mary's bedroom and in the bathroom. The blood was sent away for testing, but it was unable to provide a definitive match. Today, the case remains unsolved. The police still don't know what happened to Mary Gutierrez. Did she lock herself in her room and die somehow? Was she the victim of a crime? Or did somebody know her a lot better than we think? I hope that maybe now her story will inspire somebody to come forward with new information. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please feel free to check out my others. I'm the host.